Get out of that. Pull that back down small. Get to that. Share. Copy. Discord.
Share. Copy.
You got back feed.
All right, I'll take care of it. Share. Copy. You got backface. All right, I'll take care of it. Share. Copy. You got backface.
You still got back feed.
There, did that take care of it?
Think so. Where is the all call channel? I know it's here.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now.
I'm not seeing it.
It's the first one under news. First right under news.
Oh, I'm seeing the first one is breaking. Let me refresh here. It is not showing up on my Discord.
Man, that's crazy. Yeah, it's on mine.
I had to go through and search it and click on it for it to pop up. It was not showing.
That's weird.
Yep. Yeah, let me get back out of that. I've got to go through and finish purging Discord. Rumble. Okay, and then we're going to make up here and get the YouTube. Hey, Retro. Got anything interesting there, Charlie?
Well, I got a couple things. Nothing really. I mean, nothing dramatic.
Well, let me get this squared away just a second because, well, go ahead and do yours, but I've got one from Iran.
All right. Wildfires razing neighborhoods in northwest U.S. city of Spokane, Washington. Wildfires supercharged by drought and intense heat tore through the northwestern U.S. city of Spokane, forcing evacuation of 60,000 people as hundreds of buildings were reduced to cinders and firefighters raced Monday to contain the flames. On a similar story, wildfire smoke won't quit. Poor air quality to expand across the West. Smoke from 50 large and uncontrolled wildfires in the Pacific Northwest will fill the sky once again this week. That's after a wildfire disaster unfolded in the region this past weekend, fueled by droughts and strong winds, including what may have been Washington's most destructive fire in state history. So they're evacuating 60,000 people from Spokane, Washington.
Interesting.
Trump had a news release this morning.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, let's see if I can get back to it. Oh, he's complaining about his. There were. I'm going to go on this report here in a minute too, but about his latest polling numbers, and they were really dinging him quite a bit in the media. So he says, my real polling numbers for those made by, not those made up by the fake news media, are the best they've ever been.
Yeah.
And when wouldn't they be the biggest tax cut, or wouldn't they be with the biggest tax cuts and employment numbers ever? The biggest outside investment in America in world history, a total secure border, a giant victory in Venezuela, a denuclearization of Iran. Yeah, right. Unparalleled respect and success throughout the world, and much, much more. Don't believe the radical left's fake poll numbers. They are crooked and corrupt, just like the country destroying Democrats. Um, it says, vote Republican for greatness in America. Thank you for your attention to this matter. That was on Truth Social.
Taxi, if when you go to close out there, if like I said in chat just there, if you swipe up on your phone screen and you can close the app completely out. What is happening when you leave out of Rumble, the app is still running in the background. You've got to swipe up and completely close the app out.
He also had another post on Truth Social this morning. He says, Iranian leadership is unbelievably duplicitous. And Dux and I were joking earlier that, wow, that's a big word for him, duplicitous. He
Yes.
went on to say they ask for a meeting, some would say beg for talks, with more scheduled in the immediate future. And they say openly and proudly that we're not having any discussions, that nothing is being talked about, and they're only dealing with Oman. Then they go on to give their usual blather in saying the Straits of Hormuz is operated powerfully by them when it is already completely controlled by the United States Navy and our blockade, or as some would say, the United States wall of steel. Nothing gets through to Iran unless we want it to, and nothing will get through unless a deal or a total surrender is accomplished. Whether Iran wants to admit it or not, we are in fact talking of a solution to a problem that they have caused for decades. It is very simple. Iran will never have a nuclear weapon. Thank you for your attention to this matter. President Trump on Truth Social. American Wall of Steel is what he's calling it. Here's another story on that. For Iran, Trump's reversal on escalation shows who really has the upper hand. By expanding the arena of fighting in the region, experts say Tehran sent a warning about the dangers of a widening war. When President Trump appeared to back down once again from a threatened military escalation against Tehran, he offered fresh fodder to the narrative Iranian officials are eager to promote, that they are the ones who fear war. They are not the ones who fear war. President Trump is.
Hmm.
Iran's leadership believes it has found the world's Achilles heel. With the help of regional militia allies, Tehran spent the past week underscoring its ability to threaten several of the world's most critical energy facilities and waterways. It has continued to up the ante in the face-off between Washington over when and how to stop their renewed hostilities and return to a short-lived deal to start peace negotiations which fell apart last month. He just doesn't get it. They are never going to follow through with a peace deal. They are never going to surrender, ever. I just don't get it with him. It's just so easy to see.
No. No, I don't either. I just don't get it. This is coming out of Iran right here. Iran has directly rejected Trump's claim of new U.S. Iran negotiations starting this Monday afternoon, saying Iran is currently not having any negotiations with the United States and will not receive any delegations in the coming days, nor visit another country. Iran clarifies its only negotiations are with Oman. and are focused purely on creating a new temporary route for the Strait of Hormuz, which will not be the current northern or southern route, but a third route fully controlled and managed by Iran, with every ship needing Iranian permits for passage. Iran adds the US backed southern route is completely rejected, and the new route is not related to opening or continuing the closure of the strait, which will remain fully closed. Oh, also, have you all seen? Let me get this right here up to where the Trump organization is suing Capital One for closing down their accounts years ago. This is back in 2021 because of money laundering.
Yeah, I saw those things you were sending me.
I find that very interesting.
Well, his he inherited most of his wealth from his father's estate, and his wasn't his father kind of like in the mob or something in New York City with taxi cabs or something?
I'm not for sure.
I think I remember reading some stuff about that.
Interesting.
So there was a lot of stuff when President Trump was running about how his father was involved in the mob in New York City, and it all revolved around his fortune in the taxi cab business, I believe.
Hmm,
So maybe he's following in his father's tradition.
makes sense. But it's he's the that their family is well known for that. They done they're barred from doing oh, what was it called when you take up money for
Extortion,
no, when you take up money for
protection.
no, hang on a minute, Charlie. When you take up money to help out the needy.
Um, I know what you're talking about. I can't think of the word either right now. Chat, help us out. We can't think of the word right now.
Not charity.
Charity. Yeah, I don't know what's wrong with my brain either. I need more coffee.
Um, I'm trying to see here.
Hey Matt, how you doing today? Taxi, good to see you, brother. Aviation Edits, Dux is here. Yeah, George is here.
Still waiting on my information on the 650 there, aviation. Aviation popped in chat, said, "Can you name me any plane for an edit, please?" And I dropped in the 650. That's like a it's the CL60 platform. That's like we see down in the Black Sea. That bombardier,
Bombardier.
bombardier is what they call them.
Yeah, I think let's see, Bombardier. Is that Canadian or is that Brazilian?
Not for sure. Here, Donald Trump. Uh,
Or maybe it's pronounced Bombardier.
Donald Trump is not permanently barred from running a charity, but he faced strict judicial restrictions, dissolution of his foundation, and a $2 million fine following 2019 settlement with the New York Attorney General. What they was doing is It was illegally using the Trump Foundation funds. Illegally misusing charitable funds at the Trump Foundation for political purposes. Not only has the Trump Foundation shut down for its misconduct, but the president has been forced to pay $2 million in misused charitable funds for his own political gain. Charities are not a means to an end, which is why these damages speak to the president's abuse of power, blah, 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 blah. As part of a Trump was ordered to pay $2 million or $250,000 apiece to 8 different charities. These charities are the Army Emergency Relief, Children's Aid Society, City Meals on Wheels, Give an Hour, Martha's Table, the United Negro College Fund, the United Way of National Capital Area, and the U.S. Holocaust Memorial Museum. He was forced to reimburse his namesake foundation $11,525 for sports paraphernalia and champagne purchased at a charity, which was added to $1.7 million already in the foundation's bank account, but combined with $1.8 million was split evenly and recently transferred to 8 agreed upon charities.
Hmm. Hey,
He also got
aviation.
caught skimming, I'm pretty sure. Go
You
ahead.
still hear aviation edits? I was just going to ask you, aviation edits, if you do flight simming. Um, I was looking for a fellow person that I could yak with about flight simming. I don't know if you do that or not, but let me know if you do.
Oh,
What did you recommend to him? What was that plane, Jeremiah?
it was a 650.
Bombardier. I think it's Bombardier or Bombardier 6A6. What would you say it was? 650?
It's 650 Artemis. It's the
Is
one that
that
flies in the Black Sea. It usually comes with the call sign CL60.
okay?
It flies up in the Baltics too. It's an ISR. It's like a mini rivet joint. Um,
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Key findings in this $2 million thing about the charity thing. The charity paid $10,000 for a 6 foot tall portrait of Trump, which was later displayed at one of his resorts, and paid over $11,500 for sportsman umbrella and champagne.
Be right back. I gotta get more coffee.
But anyway, let's get on to some news. Millions of locusts have swarmed Russia's Dagestan. Oh. I'm gonna let Charlie read this one when we get back, folks. Trump is mad about Iran. Iranian leadership is unbelievably suspicious. They asked for a meeting. Some would say beg. He's the one saying beg. Talks begin with more scheduled. They say openly and proudly that they're not having any discussions.
Okay, I'm back.
Read what I sent you.
Yeah, I already read that one.
The Truth Social post.
Yeah.
Did you read it on stream?
Yeah,
Oh, I must not. Oh, that's when I was digging, I guess. Um,
yeah. He had two Truth Social posts this morning. One
yeah,
about his poll, that one, and one about his polls.
interesting. He's mad because the truth came out and there is no talks, and now he's getting. You know how he gets. He's working around to getting ready to start talking about we're going to bomb them again.
Yep, nothing new under the sun. Week after week.
Yep, this is different. That's the word I'm looking for. Different. It's a big circle that we go through. Just different stages every
Yeah.
day, every week.
SSDW.
Yep. Black Cat's out of Jacksonville doing a little testing. That big test field out there off the coast.
Hey, Clayton. I haven't seen you in a while,
Interested to
brother.
see what
Brother, how
that
you doing?
GLEX goes to. Here's Trump's forecast for the week. Saturday, everything's under control. Sunday, the day of warnings. The biggest storm ever is coming. Monday, Iran must surrender now. Tuesday, I've always been a man of peace. Wednesday, a great deal is coming. Thursday, nobody negotiates better than me. Friday, if there's no deal, we have no other options. Um, Death toll from this
Hey,
morning's
Pinoy
drone.
Armament. Haven't seen you before, I don't think, Pinoy. Have you done? Are you
I
Duramax?
think he's been around. It's been a
Okay.
while.
Oh, how you doing, Pinoy?
The death toll from this morning's drone explosion on a beach in Glandazok, Russia. I don't know how to pronounce that. It has increased to 7. 40 are wounded. Russians' mobile teams downed the Ukrainian drone while it was on its way to hit the Rasovat base, which belongs to the NPO, a major Russian defense contractor. And instead of it hitting the base, they downed it over a crowded civilian beach. Oh my goodness, folks. And 3 out of the 7 that is no longer with us was kids, and 40 are wounded. Just the incompetence of Russia, folks. It's just. I mean, why didn't they take care of this thing out over the ocean a little farther instead of waiting it till it's right on the beach and then
Mm.
doing this? It's just they've all got an IQ of about 20. Yeah, Trump's claiming the U.S. has completely control of the Strait of Hormuz.
Yeah, that's what I was saying earlier. He's calling it America's Wall of Steel.
If we was completely control on the Strait of Hormuz, folks, these ships wouldn't be getting hit. I'm really surprised one of our warships has not been hit, to be honest with you.
Oh, I think maybe they have, haven't they? Hasn't there been one that was hit?
Don't think so. I know we've had incidents between our ships of hitting each other, but no, Iran hasn't got a hit in.
I know they've attacked them though.
Yeah, many a times, but they've never made contact.
Here's more information about Trump's approval ratings. Trump's approval ratings hits record lows in two new polls. A poll released by Quinnipiac University on July 29th showed Trump's approval rating at 32%. 58% of respondents said they disapproved of the president's job and performance. According to the pollsters, Trump's performance in the polls is the worst recorded in either of his terms in the White House. Only a day after Quinnipiac's poll, an AP NORC poll showed similar numbers as only 33% of respondents approved of Trump's performance, a drop of 4 percentage points since the last poll.
Well, North Korea has built and buried a new facility to boost production of Hwasong 11 missiles used by Russia and Ukraine. It's building the things and burying them. Um, I'll show everybody here just a second. I'll show you on stream.
While you're setting that up, the Kremlin is bullying more Russians into fighting in Ukraine. Measures increasingly include beatings and manipulation, fueling expectations of a second forced mobilization. Russia is strong arming more fighting age men into military service to boost
Well,
the flagging ranks of its army as voluntary recruitment stall, and Moscow's initiative on the front line in Ukraine is faltering.
we know there's a mobilization coming, and it could be as big as 2 million men. It's supposed to
Well,
start
maybe
here.
we're seeing the start of it now.
What is this? August? It's supposed to start next month. Here's this facility that North Korea has built. This is the entrance into these underground tunnel systems. There's new construction at West Entrance, and this is the building they have built up here and buried. So I'm sure this is a big buried facility right in here too, and all of these are buried facilities. But here it is underneath under construction. SBS is pretty
Interesting.
smart. Build them open and then bury them. Good way to protect them. Oh. CENTCOM has circulated an email to a broad group of military analysts last week requesting we are looking for a new creative and unconventional ways to pressure and punish Iran.
Also, Denmark has begun its extended military conscription with the first intake of recruits beginning in the 11-month program, expected to grow year upon year with women also being included. Now, that has to do with the stuff they've been saying about all the things Trump has been saying about Greenland. Remember that? When he started talking about
Mm-hmm.
Greenland, Denmark said Nope, we're going to start getting our own military together to protect Greenland
Yep.
against the U.S.
He's back on that Greenland kick too, by the way. Over the weekend there, he posted a picture of him saying, "Oh, Greenland," or something like that.
Yeah, I think I did see that.
What is that?
Sorry, just for the record, I'm blowing my nose. That was not
Oh.
a fart.
Wildfires in Washington has forced the evacuation of 60,000 people and has scorched 390 square miles of land. This comes after the Trump administration withheld millions of dollars from wildfire prevention efforts.
You thought you caught me in a toot there, didn't you,
I
German
didn't know
accent?
what it was. It sounded like somebody talking or something. Like a I
No,
don't
it's
know.
this. That's me blowing my nose this morning. Sorry about that, folks.
Iran's army special forces has carried out 14 ground operations in Iraq's Erbil and I can't pronounce this. Two areas in Iraq, Erbil and another area. During the operations, several Kurdish separatist leaders were unalived, while others was captured. Iranian forces returned without suffering any casualties. Here's somebody's takes on the um, Trump post about Iran today. Trump crashes out over Iran debunking him regarding Hormuz talks. He's angry at Iran, ranting that they begged for talks, then denied them, and boasting the Strait of Hormuz sits behind a U.S. wall of steel. His terms to lift the blockade, a deal or total surrender. 3 months of bombing and the strongest military on earth still can't get more than a tantrum out of him.
Hmm.
Oh, Russian media, this is a big one, report that an urgent evacuation has begun in all towers of Moscow City, which compromises around 20 skyscrapers. Elevators in the complex have been turned off and people are being evacuated en masse. The reason for evacuation of these 20 skyscrapers have not been reported. Interesting. Yep, this one guy right here, kind of probably a fake terrorist attack to justify full mobilization. Yep, guarantee it. Do you remember the 1999 Bryansk and Volgorsk and Moscow apartment bombings
I kind of do.
and the 120 Russians at the something theater? I guarantee you we're fixing to see something similar to this. I about 100% guarantee, but they're going to do a mass attack on these towers from within Russia to justify mass mobilization or the use of a nuclear weapon.
Hmm. Looks like France is not happy with the
Now,
UK.
if these 20 towers, 20 skyscrapers was attacked at Moscow, that would be major. You know what I mean? And badly
Yep.
damaged. So, y'all keep this on your radar. of these 20 skyscrapers. Keep any news out of Moscow on your radar, because we've got a major false flag incoming. And this could be the scale that he might try to use a nuke.
That's what I was just going to say. This would give him ample reason to do a tactical.
Yep.
The French government's not happy with the UK. The French government has warned what they call the reformed UK that any plans to
That
deploy the Navy, the British Navy in the English Channel to tow back migrant boats to France, um, would be a violation of French sovereignty and international laws.
could be a false flag too, there, Charlie, for full to to that's what I'm looking for. Justify full mobilization of a Russian Federation of the 1.5 to 2 million troops that we're hearing of.
Do you know how many troops are presently stationed up in the Baltics now? They were building all those barracks and things.
I do not. But from what I'm getting from my sources on the ground, um, half of these troops that's going to be mobilized this fall is going to be sent to the Baltic area. And if it's 2 million, that's a million troops. That's more than enough to invade the Baltics with. More than
Quickly.
enough. Yep. We've got massive flooding in Indonesia.
Suwalki Gap is back on the radar.
Folks, the Japanese yen just keeps going down. No matter what the Bank of Japan does or the U.S. Treasury does, it's going on down. I'll show you this chart here in a minute. Like I said, there's only so much that they can do to try to save it. And nothing that they've done so far right now has even gave us a green candle.
Hey there, Bayou Prepper. Good to see you again.
This time is different, folks. Like I've been saying, this time is different. You can only throw money at stuff for so long before throwing money at stuff just doesn't work no more. Example, an old piece of equipment. There's only so many parts you can change on it before the frame of equipment is just completely wore out.
What do you want to bet that we're going to hear a White House press conference pretty soon from President Trump about Iran?
I don't know.
I bet we do this week, early this week, I bet.
When asked about
Because
helping the Japanese yen, Trump said on Sunday that the country has been very good to us before adding, with the exception of Pearl Harbor. See, that has the opposite effects of us just dumping all this money into trying to help save it, and then he turns around and says, with the exception of Pearl Harbor. That causes stuff to go down. You can't say stuff like that. Yeah, I think we will see something here soon, Charlie. Some kind of briefing.
Yeah, well, a couple of major news outlets were showing pictures of Trump holding a taco up in his hand. So he ain't going to let that go without saying something.
Hmm. Oil prices might be down 9%, but Brent for prompt delivery is up 20%. The market is paying $13 premium for oil right now, rather than 6 months from now. In other words, they are flooding the market with paper barrels, while physical barrels remain in very short supply. So that's how they're keeping oil prices down. They're flooding it with paper barrels of oil that doesn't exist. It's the reason why the 1, 2, 3 crack spread is so big. And like I showed last night, let's see if I can find this right fast. You got anything while I'm finding this?
Oh, not really. It was a really slow news weekend.
Okay. Sulfur prices are up 134% since the Iran war started in February. I started passing out these tariff refunds, and Apple received $2.2 billion tariff refund this quarter. Folks, the companies didn't pay for the tariffs. We did. And now the companies are receiving billions of dollars for nothing. For free, basically.
Oh, here we go. Right on schedule. Right on schedule. Pakistan has denied President Trump's claim of any upcoming scheduled talks between the U.S. and Iran. Islamabad says itself and Qatar, as mediators, are still working to bring the two sides to the table. Right on schedule. We
Yep,
knew that was coming.
right on schedule. So that proves right there that he has lied to everybody again.
Bubba News is saying, I don't know what to say anymore. Posts by President Trump are completely delusional. Trump is fuming again because nobody is buying his Iran is begging for a ceasefire story anymore.
Mm-hmm.
This is going to be a very weird week.
Yep. Now this is about fuel. Now, this is coming from the CEO of Shell, saying he says appeared on he appeared on CNBC while using diplomatic language to sound calm and optimistic. What he actually admitted was there's not enough diesel being produced to meet demand. We're going into an Armageddon. So y'all listen to my little AI helper here just a minute.
It's getting worse. Diesel rationing is right around the corner. Shell CEO Wael Sawan just appeared on CNBC, and while using diplomatic language to sound calm and optimistic, what he actually admitted is that there's not enough diesel being produced to meet demand. A direct quote, "The price signals are that we are short on diesel and gasoline. My own research says we can power through the gasoline shortage, but diesel shortages will worsen." At first, even in the USA, this will only mean higher diesel prices. $8 minus $10 per gallon is where this is headed. But later this year, if oil shipments out of the SO are not fully resuming, which seems impossible, we will almost certainly encounter a situation of rationing that won't be called rationing. There will be scarcity and allotments for various fuel distributors, in other words, and never enough diesel to go around. I probably don't have to tell you how this is
Hey, I'm
going to
sorry.
impact
I'm
food
going to have
prices
to
and
back out of
deliveries.
here early. I got to take Miss P to the doctor.
All right. Well, we'll see you in a little while. I'm gonna
They're
finish letting
going
this
to
AI play here.
yeah, they're going to run a camera down her nose to take a look at her voice box to find
Yep.
out why she's losing her voice.
I hope
I'm pretty
everything.
concerned about it.
Yep, I hope everything goes good.
Yeah, me too. I'll be back on a little later.
All
I'll
right.
see you guys in a little bit. God bless you all. Take
All
care.
right. Let's see.
Whoop.
It's
All right,
getting
folks. I'm gonna
worse.
play this again.
Diesel rationing is right around the corner. Shell CEO Wael Sawin just appeared on CNBC, and while using diplomatic language to sound calm and optimistic, what he actually admitted is that there's not enough diesel being produced to meet demand. A direct quote, "The price signals are that we are short on diesel and gasoline. My own research says we can power through the gasoline shortage, but diesel shortages will worsen. At first, even in the USA, this will only mean higher diesel prices. $8 minus $10 per gallon is where this is headed. But later this year, if oil shipments out of the SO are not fully resuming, which seems impossible, we will almost certainly encounter a situation of rationing that won't be called rationing. There will be scarcity and allotments for various fuel distributors, in other words, and never enough diesel to go around. I probably don't have to tell you how this is going to impact food prices and deliveries, agriculture and food harvesting, construction, long-haul trucking, delivery of parts for hardware supply stores, trains, locomotives, etc. Basically everything gets more expensive and delayed. Supply chains erode. Food inflation skyrockets. And this is the Shell CEO trying to downplay everything and sound optimistic, notably. Imagine what he's saying to his employees in private. Prepare for things to get much, much worse. Trump still doesn't realize you can't bomb your way to victory against Iran. And he still thinks the Strait of Hormuz can be controlled by the US Navy, a laughable, ridiculous assertion. The coming diesel shortages are only part of the problem, of course. Fertilizer shortages, helium, sulfuric acid, polyethylene feedstock, etc. If we don't end this war and see the SO resume shipping, our world will enter a multi-year economic dark age. Not just a depression, but a dark age of systemic collapse and despair, with starvation, violence, population collapse, mass human migration, etc., all following in short order. I'll cover this in more detail in tomorrow's broadcast. Until then, enjoy your taco, since Trump is serving them on Sunday now.
Well, there you have it, folks. And I wanted to get to this next. This is Trump's latest little post. You can't direct oil companies to stop playing games and slash their prices when there's not enough. It's not a price issue, it's a supply issue.
Breaking. President Trump immediately directs big oil companies like Chevron to stop playing games and slash their gas prices. Mike Wirth, chairman and CEO of Chevron, just gave, in an interview with the fabulous Maria Bartiromo, all of the reasons that his company is doing so well. The only thing he conveniently forgot to mention is that, without the genius, foresight, strength, and stability of the Trump administration, the oil industry, and our country itself, would be dead. As an example, they threw Mike and Chevron out of Venezuela, but now they're back, far bigger and stronger than ever before, expecting to make a fortune. That goes for other oil companies as well, and get your consumer retail oil prices down now. Thank you for your
It's just amazing. Just amazing. And he still thinks that he can just tell them to cut prices. It does not work like that. I don't even think that he knows what a 3-2-1 crack spread is. Anyway, let's move on. He tried the same thing back in June, by the way. The 29th of June. U.S. oil refineries are delaying maintenance and running at over 100% output through Q2 of this year. If these refineries are not brought down for required maintenance very soon, they're literally going to start spontaneously disassembling and unalive lots of workers. Yep. And he's also going to drain the SPR to a point that the caverns it's stored in will collapse. Watch and see. When we get done, when he gets done, our SPR will not be able to SPR anymore. I'm going to let my helper read this.
U.S. oil refineries are delaying maintenance and running at over 100% output through Q2 of this year. If these refineries are not brought down for required maintenance very soon, they literally start to blow up and kill lots of workers. There are many examples of this over the last 25 years or so. The BP explosion in Texas City, Texas. The Marathon Petroleum explosion in Galveston Bay, Texas. The Tesoro accident in Anacortes, Washington that blew up and killed 7 workers. The Chevron El Segundo, California fire in 2025, which actually didn't kill anyone, thankfully. Delaying maintenance on refineries is a risky gambit. It seems that Trump is pushing U.S. refineries to delay maintenance, that's my take on it, anyway, and maximize output to try to keep fuel prices low. This casino-like attitude of pushing oil refinery equipment to its limits can end catastrophically. Explosions or fires can end.
Remember, every casino he's ever had, he's bankrupted. Also, just a little FYI on that.
Refineries forever, or in other cases require years of major repairs. I wonder how.
Now, like that said right there, it can shut them down forever or end or require years of major repairs. That means the refinery will go offline forever if something happens to it, or it will be down for years for repairs.
Far Trump is going to push things in this vector, and I pray we don't see refineries start blowing up and killing workers.
Folks, we are entering winter time, and our oil stocks are depleted. Here about December, we're going to really start having some issues. Exactly, Matt. In a bit. As soon as winter starts right here, we're not going to be complaining about the price of diesel. We're going to be complaining about the availability of it. And when there's no diesel, nothing gets moved. Diesel is the backbone of this country. And if there's a major, major supply problem of diesel, there's going to be a major, major, major food supply problem in this country. Everything runs on diesel. The maintenance of your power grid, delivery of food, your water that comes out of your spigot in your house. Everything. And about everything has some type of petroleum product in it, down to the clothes that you wear. Crafty, I am not telling you that they're depleted. Putting words in my mouth. See you bye. Come here and put words in my mouth that I did not say. Our strategic oil reserve is at a 43-year low. Our refineries are not getting shut down for maintenance. He's selling it as fast as he can sell it out of our strategic oil reserve. You might want to go back and do some research yourself. Go look what the oil CEOs are saying. Did you not listen to a word that any oil CEOs have said? We're not all the way depleted yet, but we will be. It's not oil is the issue. Its refining capability is the issue. There's not enough refining capability. Let's see here. U.S. military as troops for created an unconventional ideal to punish Iran. We got major floodwaters in Beijing. Here's Trump demanded that oil companies lower their prices. Okay, we're up now to 11 states. Not 11, 7 states. I'm sorry, I misread that. 7 states that have had their all, not all, but had their water infrastructure targeted by Iranian cyber attacks. And Trump turned around and blamed Minnesota for the attack instead of Iran because he doesn't like Tim Waltz. Japanese yields. The Japanese yields are still surging despite the combined intervention of Basant and the Bank of Japan. The cent is now trying to keep oil prices low, then the yen, the Japanese yields in check all at the same time. Despite spending billions of dollars, the yen carry trade is still blowing up. Iran has shot down another U.S. MQ-9 Reaper over the Strait of Hormuz. The drone was directing ships through the Omani side of the Strait of Hormuz, a route that the RGC has declared unauthorized. I think that was, yeah, it was Charlie leaving. Oh, let's see here. How is everyone today? Living the dream. Yep, Matt. I'm looking for some more information here. Have a good one, Michael. Trump has signed an executive order directing the Department of Energy to use the Defense Production Act to restart the Stable pipeline. It unlocks 50,000 barrels a day and lifts California offshore oil output by 550%. That's 20 million barrels of oil equivalent a year, unlocked by preempting California's own climate laws. Yep, I can see protests going to start there. Matt. Zelensky has dismissed Ukraine's ambassador to the U.S. Okay, I am going to let you all listen to this, but I have went and pulled. Let's see here. I need to go to Grok history. This is all the quotes from the oil CEOs.
Recent statements from oil executives and industry leaders center on acute supply disruptions, depleted inventories, trapped cargoes, and recovery timelines from the Strait of Hormuz (SOH) crisis, not permanent geological exhaustion of oil fuel. TheStreet.com. Background on the SOH situation: as of early August 2026, starting around late February 2026 after U.S.-Israel strikes on Iran, Iran's actions, mines, threats, attacks on shipping plus related blockades effectively closed or severely restricted the Strait of Hormuz, the choke point that normally handles approximately 20% of global oil and significant LNG volumes. This caused the largest oil supply disruption on record, with peak outages of roughly 10 to 12 plus million barrels per day (MBD) from Middle East producers and cumulative losses exceeding 1 billion barrels at points. Safety4C.com. There have been intermittent deals, partial reopenings, traffic surges, re-escalations, and fluctuating tanker flows. Bypass pipelines, e.g., UAE, Saudi East-West inventory draws, alternative suppliers, and demand destruction limited the worst price spikes in some periods, but global stocks tightened sharply. Refined products, diesel, jet fuel, gasoline faced particular stress, and recovery has been uneven and slow. As of recent reports, traffic and flows remain well below normal in periods of renewed tension, with full normalization potentially stretching into late 2026 or 2027 depending on geopolitics. CFR.org. Relevant recent comments from oil CEOs, executives and industry leaders. These focus on inventory exhaustion risk, trapped oil, price spikes if the disruption continues, and the time needed for recovery, not, we will permanently run out of fuel. Anonymous senior oil industry executive reported mid-June 2026, in closed-door talks with U.S. officials, described global petroleum inventories as nearing tank bottom. A related comment: we're at dangerously low levels already, you're hitting tank bottom. TheStreet.com. ExxonMobil Senior Vice President Neil Chapman warned that if inventory declines continued, Brent crude could reach $150 minus $160 per barrel. Once you get to that point, then you'll see prices shoot up. Exxon leadership also noted the world was approaching unheard of inventory levels, really low levels. TheStreet.com. American Petroleum Institute (API) CEO Mike Summers, "We're sounding the alarm on these inventories going to record lows. We have to solve this problem in the Strait of Hormuz." He emphasized reopening the strait is critical to cooling prices, noted no real replacement for the choke point, and stressed the need to prevent Iran from controlling it long-term. Flows needed to rise substantially, e.g., toward approximately 11 mbd in some comments, to restore pre-conflict conditions and allow restocking of strategic reserves. TheStreet.com. Phillips 66 CEO Mark Lashier, June 2026. Between 90 to 100 million barrels of crude remain trapped in the Strait area and would work their way out over time. Recovery would be a long drawn-out paced process, because onshore tanks were largely full and needed space before production could ramp significantly. He noted the market's efficient response had helped avoid even higher prices, e.g., $200. Reuters.com. Saudi Aramco CEO Amin Nasser. The global energy market would need time to stabilize even after supplies resumed. The world had lost around 1 billion barrels due to the blockade. Years of underinvestment had already pressured tight inventories. Simply reopening routes would not instantly normalize the market. Aramco used its east-west pipeline as a partial bypass. MarketScreener.com. ADNOC, Abu Dhabi National Oil Company, Group CEO Drive. Sultan Al Jaber, Sarah Week, March 2026, called weaponizing the Strait an act of economic terrorism. Energy security is not just a slogan, it's the difference between lights on and lights off. When Hormuz is squeezed, the pressure is immediately felt around the world. He framed it as a security issue requiring the strait to stay open, not purely a supply problem that could be traded away. OGJ.com. Chevron CEO Mike Wirth. Physical supply conditions were tighter than futures market pricing suggested, with real manifestations of the closure working through the system. July and August were described as critical months for inventories. IranTimes.com. ConocoPhillips CEO Ryan Lance. You just can't take 8 to 10 million barrels a day of oil and 20% or so of the liquefied natural gas market off the world stage without having some significant repercussions. IranTimes.com. Kuwait Petroleum Corporation CEO Sheikh Nawaf Al Sabah described Iran's actions as an economic blockade holding the world's economy hostage, with a domino effect. IranTimes.com. Other executives, e.g., from Qatar Energy, noted multi-month recovery timelines even after reopening. Industry commentary also highlighted risks of refined product shortages and the limits of workarounds. Bottom line, no major oil CEOs appear to be claiming the world is permanently running out of fuel due to geology. The consistent recent message is about a severe, prolonged choke point-driven shortage that has drained buffers, trapped large volumes of oil, driven volatility, and will take months or longer to fully unwind, even with partial reopenings, exacerbated by prior underinvestment in some views. Prices and flows have swung with diplomatic and military developments. For the absolute latest status, check real-time shipping data, e.g., Kepler IEA reports, or major news outlets, as the situation has remained fluid.
Okay, there you have it. Okay, now what we're going to get into is Trump's own U.S. officials directly rejects Trump's claim from last night that Iran negotiations are set to begin on Monday afternoon, saying there are no new or novel negotiations planned or ongoing. Ukraine is now not going to receive a license to produce Patriot intercept missiles before the onset of winter, according to the U.S. Permanent Representative NATO. I'm sorry, I'm reading something. Yep, Matt, welcome to the GSM. Republican Congresswoman Kay Granger has passed away at age 83. She has been in an assisted living facility during the final months of her time in office. Okay, I'm going to let my helper read this one off. Let's see here. This is going by what Pete Hegseth said. Fact: the Department of War was ready to go, and remains ready, at levels not seen since World War II. This is a reply back to him.
If accurate, such an operation would have gone well beyond simply increasing the tempo of the current air campaign. According to CENTCOM, U.S. forces have already struck more than 10,000 targets during months of operations against Iran. Despite that sustained campaign, Iran has retained the ability to launch ballistic missile and drone attacks against U.S. forces, regional partners, and commercial shipping. Producing a fundamentally different military outcome would likely have required weeks or months of sustained, high-intensity, multi-domain operations targeting not only missile launchers and air defenses, but also Iran's command and control network, hardened underground facilities, military-industrial base, logistics infrastructure, and strategic military assets. In other words, the objective would likely have shifted from degrading Iranian capabilities to systematically dismantling them. One notable observation, however, is that there has been no publicly visible surge in U.S. combat aircraft, aerial refueling assets, ISR platforms, or logistics aircraft into the CENTCOM theater that would ordinarily be expected to sustain a significantly larger air campaign. Flight tracking has documented routine rotations and localized movements, but not the type of sustained buildup typically associated with a major expansion of combat operations, similar to what was seen in the lead-up to operations in the Middle East and Caribbean. Unless the initial phase of such a campaign was intended to be generated largely from CONUS-based forces or relied on capabilities not readily observable, the visible force posture has not reflected the scale implied by the administration's statement. The regional consequences also would likely have extended well beyond Iran itself. During the most recent escalation, Following U.S. strikes on bridges near Bandar Abbas, Iran expanded its retaliation by targeting infrastructure in Gulf states that supported operations against Iranian territory. A substantially larger U.S. campaign would have increased the likelihood of sustained attacks against U.S. bases, ports, airfields, energy infrastructure, and other strategic facilities across the Gulf. That has important implications for regional air and missile defense. Even during the recent tit-for-tat attacks, the U.S. and its partners expended significant numbers of Patriot and other interceptor missiles defending military installations and critical infrastructure. A more intense campaign would almost certainly have accelerated interceptor expenditure rates across the region, further straining available inventories. From the available information, this appears to be more rhetoric than reality. It's unknown whether the conflicting messaging from both sides is intentional misdirection or if it actually reflects reality.
Nothing reflects reality anymore. Okay, what I want to show you right now is the Japanese bond market. It's getting worse, folks. This is the Japanese bond market. Look at this. It's going straight up. This is the past 2 years. It's from 24. Japan's 2-year and 5-year bond yields just hit their highest levels in 31 years. Both was near zero just 2 years ago. Japan's bond market keeps getting worse. One of the biggest market stories this week wasn't AI. It was the Japanese yen. Japan reportedly spent more than $34 billion in a single day defending its currency, bringing the total intervention this year to over $100 billion. And it's not doing nothing. U.S. fixed to buy the yen with euro and dollar is not working. Japan will have to increase interest rates, sell U.S. treasuries, and buy Japanese bonds to stem the tide. It is not Japan's job to sacrifice its saviors and economy to save the U.S. economy that exploited and profited from the carry trade. Like I said, folks, it's going to get a lot worse before it gets any better. If it ever gets better. As Trump backs away from giving Ukraine license to produce Patriot air defense missiles, Ukrainian officials say Kyiv had a chance to solve the problem years ago, but Washington rejected the idea back then as well. Florida has just recorded the highest number of leprosy cases in modern history. Interesting. A disease most people think disappeared is quietly becoming an epidemic in Florida. Real transmission, record case counts, and multiple affected counties. Folks, these horse statues that he has covered in gold look awful. That right there is the tackiest thing that I think I've ever seen. Look at that. It's tacky. Absolutely just black looking. Yuck. This is too much. What do y'all bet that the gold starts peeling off of them? Iran can't agree to any deal. It's now or never. They know this. They were hit during negotiations. Their religious leader and his family were unalived. There was no real attempt at the MOU from the U.S. They blah 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 blah. Any deal or ceasefire would result in the U.S. and Israel regrouping and coming back when it's more convenient. Scary part is Israel also knows this. Blah 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 blah. This is all Iran's plan to fulfill their dark religious prophecy. Like me and Charlie has spoke on. The Iranians think it's their destiny to bring in Armageddon. And they think what they're doing right now is their prophecy.
That will be the final war, what we call Gog. Everyone will turn against Israel, but the final divine revenge will take place. How many people will get hurt? How many people will pay the price? According to Zachary 14, two-thirds of the people in the world will die in 12 minutes. Like they don't even explain that prophecy. Well,
BB has the Israel Prime Minister now, folks, has stated, I think Trump's calculation is that he doesn't want to see the collapse of a global economy. Huh. Seems like we've been talking about this. Folks, we're going to a collapse either way we look at it. But now the Prime Minister of Israel, Bibi, has now came out and stated that he says he thinks Trump's calculation is that he doesn't want to see a collapse of the global economy. This isn't what's going to collapse the global economy. It's the debt that's going to collapse the global economy. This isn't helping, but the debt is the main driver of it. The thing is, there, ducks, even Trump's own administration is saying that there is no negotiations. Yep, U.S. officials. Right there you go. CBS News. I'm looking for some more information. Yep, Matt. Multiple, actually. Not just a, multiple. More than 100,000 UK police officers and staff had had their full names, contact details, and force locations leaked on the dark web after a hack on the National Police Legal Database. MOD, Home Office, NCA, and CPS staff are also exposed. One officer says the leak puts officers at serious risk. Oh my goodness. Look what he has posted on Truth Social. It says Trump was right about Venezuela. Months later, and after a national disaster, one planned for, the critics who predicted chaos was wrong. What? I still want to know what all this money is going to. There's supposedly billions of dollars missing. The secretive Christian militia group is expanding across the U.S. Members wear masks like the Patriot Front does, are extremely well armed, and seem to be aggressively recruiting. Interesting. I want to drop a link to this into chat for you all to check out. Trump is reportedly worried about future investigations related to corruption and prosecution of his family after his term is complete. He's planning to test the limits of widespread pardons. Treasury Secretary Scott has stated the Trump administration delivers for the Americas, trusted partners. Economic security is national security, and the U.S. Japan alliance is built on both. Friday's coordinated foreign exchange actions countered disorderly yen movements. Treasury remains attentive and in close communications with our counterparts at the MOF and the BOJ. We will not hesitate to precipitate further joint intervention. The FIMA repo facility is an important backstop. We would encourage it to be upsized in the coming months. We strongly support Japan's decisive market and monetary steps to correct an substantial undervaluation of the yen. The government is moving into a exciting new phase as nearly 15 years of powerful stimulus has created doable but robust underlying economic dynamics. Translation: we want the Japanese rates suppressed so capital keeps flowing into the U.S. through the carry trade. And if that system comes under stress, we will intervene again to keep it alive. When we are expanding the backstop through the FIMA repo facility, so Japan can borrow dollars without dumping treasuries into the market at all at once. In short, they're not trying to reduce the carry trade. They're trying to protect it. But every rescue makes the trade longer, more crowded, and more fragile. Very soon, one day, this position will grow beyond what they can suppress. And when that happens, the unwind will be violent beyond imagination. And folks, it will take down the world economy when it goes. Israel's prime minister says we need to build more alliances. That's why I'm investing heavily in our relationship with India. Modi is one of the greatest friends. The support that Israel and I personally receive in India is simply unbelievable. It's coming from the Israel prime minister. Trump's reportedly isn't worried if Republicans lose Congress because he plans to rely on executive actions, pardons, rather than legislation during his final 2 years. Has anybody got any questions? I am going to wrap this up. We have been live for 2 hours. We're going to have to start cutting this back to about an hour, folks. Eh, everything's going to a plan. Only the plan is poop. In Russia, the foam they used to extinguish the warehouse fire all flowed into the river. All the fish has died, and there's a massive chemical stench. They also take water from this river to irrigate the fields with vegetables. I will post a link to that, and y'all can check that out. It's just a giant thing of foam. Does anybody have any questions? Prepare for Dieselgaden. The Shell CEO has warned that there's not enough diesel to go around for much longer. Refineries are being pushed beyond 100% capacity by delaying critical maintenance. This raises the risk of explosions, blah, 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 blah. Also means that starting soon, a lot of refineries in the U.S. are going to have to be taken offline to catch up on necessary maintenance. And that's going to throw another disruption into supply of diesel. Hope y'all have got some diesel stored up. The more the better. Alright, good deal, folks. We're going to end the YouTube stream, so you all go ahead and get moved over here to the Rumble. Yep, anytime Southern Ducks, there is a link to the Rumble right there, folks. Go ahead and get moved over there. I am ending the YouTube stream. I'm going to throw a video up over on Rumble.